You're a teenager, you're far from perfect, yet beautiful. You're going to mess up, you're going to change. You're going to lose friends, you're going to gain friends. You're going to learn who your true friends are. You're going to have days where you want to scream until your head explodes. You're going to feel heartbroken, you're going to feel dead. Then there are times you feel so alive. You're absolutely beautiful through all of this, and even though being a teenager is seriously the biggest thing we all have to overcome, we can make it through these years with a smile. Just promise me you'll try. Who am I is a question with many answers. I'm a daughter, a sister, a girl with a height of less than 5 feet, and a girl of small towns. From birth until 7 years old lies in Mount Holly, and from 8 years old until God only knows resides in Carlisle. My philosophy on life is that famous line, live in the moment. Don't waste your time worrying about your past because it's over. You can't change it, but you can let it go. My favorite quote to live by is forget the risk and take the fall. If it's meant to be, it's worth it all. I believe you should always do what you love with no questions asked. Here are a few things that I love. Softball, iced tea, Coke Ices, and the Phillies. A few things I hate would be bad teeth, arrogance, black, brown, and navy blue together, and $2 bills. Are they really necessary? All in all, I believe those who are happiest are those who are grateful for what they have. People are only as happy as they make their minds up to be. First was the high-class restaurant. The menu was a huge puzzle that I couldn't figure out, much like Sudoku. When the waitress asked if we needed any help or to explain anything, I simply said the whole menu, please. Everyone laughed, but trust me, I never felt as stupid and helpless as I did right then. Next would be when I got laid out at my Susquehanna game. That was the first time softball ever became a contact sport to me. Racing to home on a wild pitch, then had a catcher knocking me down and laying me out with my face in the dirt. I was so upset I couldn't even get up at first. Even though I was out, my friend, our third baseman, clotheslined her in the next inning. Revenge is sweet. Lastly, my final snapshot of summer would be when I bought my new car. I already had a car, but it was damaged from the previous hailstorm. I had $4,000 to give and that car to trade in. I found this special edition, yellow, Mercury Cougar, and I just had to have it. Unfortunately, on the drive home from buying it, a tractor trailer's tire blew in front of me. I just kept driving through the tire, and it knocked out my fog lights, hood release, and left terrible black marks. As eventful as that was, it was just a sign I shouldn't have bought that car. But I love it too much to worry about that. Stacy Rogers, my mother, is the most complex person I've ever known. She's a hard worker, but very hard-headed. When she talks to me, she likes to talk loudly. I say it's yelling, but she says otherwise. She only wants the best for me, and I know that. Sometimes I just find it so hard to see where she's coming from, but she also can't find her way to me. We're complete opposites in every way. We normally have good days, but I will still never understand her ways. These days of frustration and confrontation are always bound to come. She's complex, complicated, mixed up, tangled, but most of all, she's wonderful. I love you, Mom. She was in the 6th grade. Every day, words from little boys' mouths hurt her more than they should have. All she ever heard was shorty and baby. Her mom could never stop her tears from running down her swollen cheeks. This little girl was only 4 foot tall when everyone else was at least 4'6". Her mom was hurt, but couldn't do anything but tell her to be strong and that size was only numbers. What really made sense to her was what her father said. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the dog. She loved her dad a lot. That little freckle-faced girl was, in fact, me. Yes, every day, to this day, doesn't go by without someone noticing so ever loudly how short I actually am. I used to think it was the biggest deal back then. I couldn't grasp the idea that I wasn't the only one in the world who was short. Over the years, I just took those compliments as a reason to show off how cute I actually am. I'm completely comfortable with my body, let alone my height. I laugh with people when they make fun of me because in most cases it is pretty comical. I show how excited I get when I notice I've only grown even 5/8 of an inch. I love looking back on times where I acted so dramatic about little things. I've learned so many lessons from those experiences. From this one, I've learned to always love yourself, because if you don't, then you won't let anyone else love you. Oh youth, where have you gone? For my 17 years, most of my memories have been constructed from school. One time, I was in the bathroom and there was water on the floor. I slipped on the water and hit my head on the sink. I then went to the nurse and she sent me to the doctor. I had double vision for a while, so they made me get glasses. Right now, I have 20/20 vision. I never wore those glasses. They were ugly anyways. Elementary school, how I will miss you, but I don't regret leaving you. But when it comes to my house, we have a 2-car garage, but it's one big door. I have a decent backyard that is on a slight hill. In my backyard, there's 3 decks, a huge above-ground pool, 2 sheds, and my deceased dog. My stepdad's working on our 4th deck, and it'll be done this summer. My front yard is filled with a flower bed, 2 trees, and a flagpole that has that assumed light shining on it. Our driveway is asphalt with 3 separate parking spots. We have 4 cars with only 3 drivers. Our neighbors are not only neighbors, but friends. I have quite a few friends that live in the neighborhood. Now that it's been about 8 years later after I moved in, the neighborhood has greatly expanded. There's now another half circle, a cul-de-sac, and another attached circle besides the first one. If you walk around the circle of our neighborhood without going into the 2 additional circles and the cul-de-sac, it's exactly a mile. As friends grow, we grow closer or farther apart. There are friends who have come and gone, but there are those who will stay forever. Not many people can say that they've had a best friend since they've been born. That lucky girl who is called my best friend is named Brooklyn Anthony. She lived right down the hill that was in my backyard. She was only a yell away from me. We would never fight, and we did everything together. After the 2nd grade, I moved to Carlisle from Mount Holly, and then later Brooke moved to Newville. We see each other whenever we can, but distance means nothing to us. She's still my best friend. We'll be best friends forever, and that will never change. There's always that one person who will always influence your life. Some people find them later in their years, but me, he was there since the day I was born. That special guy is my father. His name is John Robert Hoon. No one really knows his name because everyone calls him Jack. Every morning, I never leave my house without hearing, "Good morning, beautiful. I hope you have a great day, and I love you." He's the most amazing person I've ever met. He's the most influential person in my life, and how he's such a caring person. He puts everyone else in front of himself. He really supports me in everything I do. He's always thrown a softball around with me in our backyard. He would pitch to me sometimes. I'd hit them, usually into the woods, and sure enough, he'd go get them. I remember when my ex and I broke up, I called him on the phone, and this is exactly how the conversation went. "Dad, I think he's going to break up with me." "Are you sure, honey?" "Yes, I can feel it." "Well, I just want you to know that you're absolutely gorgeous. I'll always tell everyone that I have learned more from you than you've ever learned from me. I will never break up with you." I then just started to bawl. Not because of my ex, but just because of how wonderful my dad is. My dad's everything I know I want to be, and more. I want to put everyone else before me and always make someone know I love them every day and how special they are to me. He's just too wonderful for anyone, and I will always be the number 1 girl in his life. He makes me want to be a better person, and I know one day because of him I will be. He is my Prince Charming. I wish I could go back to middle school when my neighbors were my family, basically. I live in Wartron Heights, which is practically where everyone lives. In my neighborhood, I have Lydia Heichman, Vanessa Coleman, Abby Hurley, Hannah Carroll, Eric McMillan, Ryan Thomas, Van Coons, and we had this girl named Courtney who went up here to 8th grade. We would all get a hold of each other back then by hitting each other up on AIM, or we would call each other's house phones because no one had a cell phone back then. I practically had Lydia's, Abby, and Vanessa's memorized. We would all go ride our bikes around our neighborhood for hours at a time. Then I was the first one to have a trampoline. I would have them all over when my parents weren't home, and we would jump until our thighs cramped. We had so many different games when we played. We all did things together that we thought were so crazy. We were all just so carefree back then. Nothing really mattered but making sure we were in by the time the streetlights were on. I would love to go back to those times. My middle school years were much like the seasons. They were constantly changing. I was best friends with Lydia Heichman and Sarah Mogill in the 6th grade. Through the 6th grade, Lydia and I fell apart. Same with Sarah. Then Abby Hurley moved into our neighborhood. In the 7th grade, Abby and I became really close. She also brought Lauren Stevenson into my life. I would say that year was autumn. We were in the autumn of our lives. We were in between the years of being newbies and being the bigger kids. We were discovering boys and realizing how friends can actually stab you in the back. Lauren is still one of my closest friends to this day. Then brought 8th grade, and that brought 2 girls in my life, Sam Vanjie and Lauren Greenway. They were everything to me. It was ride or die with us. We all 3 did everything together all the time. We were winter. We were cold to others sometimes, but we were each other's layers to stay warm. We all went through a very serious matter together, and we stuck to each other through the whole thing. We never told anyone, even when pressed by teachers. I would do anything for them. Times are different now, but middle school was great. The movie I watched this year that I really liked was Just Go With It. I gave this movie 2 thumbs up. It kept me laughing, and it's rated PG-13.
Now, drop everything. Oh, man. Grab your ticket. And don't get left behind.
The pig has eaten my body!
Just go with it. Rated PG-13. Now playing.
Let's do it!
When it comes to vacations, I've only had a few. I've only been to Florida twice, and they both haven't been the best experiences. My parents went to Puerto Rico for my stepdad's best friend's wedding, but I wasn't allowed to go. When they came back, they showed me the most beautiful pictures, and ever since then I've always wanted to go to Puerto Rico. Everything I could ever want is there. Beautiful beaches, clear blue waters, and the greenest trees. With me, I don't want to change too much. Some people wish for money, some people wish for love, but for me, I have everything I ever need right now. There are maybe a few things I would like to change. As I said, I would like to be a little bit taller. I've always wanted to be at least 5 foot, but unfortunately I only stand 4 feet and 11 inches. It isn't that I'm not happy with my height, but I really couldn't grow 1 more inch. Another change I would like to be would be forgetfulness. I forget a lot of things, and it's not only the important stuff, but the little stuff too. My counselor once told me that because I'm smart and I have a lot going on, that my head gets all lost in other things. It's very easy for smart people to forget things. I just know that forgetting things has gotten me in a lot of trouble over the years, and it will continue to get me in trouble. Through everything, though, I love who I am. I'm never going to change for anyone unless I truly want to. People do not really know the real me, and those lucky people who do know exactly how good of a person I am. Life never does get easier, but I know that I do get better. When it comes to high school, I can describe my first 3 years through 3 songs. My freshman year can be described by Taylor Swift's song 15. It's an obvious song about freshman year, and me being a freshman and short, I really didn't get along with the upperclassmen too well. And she always talks about a redheaded Abigail and soon enough your best friends. Well, that works for me because my best friend was Abby Hurley, and she was a redhead. She's still one of my best friends to this day. Sophomore year, I was just crazy. I thought I was big stuff on campus, and I didn't know why. I thought I had it all, and I lost a friend through that. Lucky enough for me, I gained her back my junior year, and she's one of my best friends. I'd have to say a song to describe that year would be We Are Who We Are by Kesha. I say it would be that because she's carefree and does what she wants. She's just who she is and is trying to have fun. That's all I wanted to do my sophomore year. The last song to describe my junior year would be Little Miss by Sugarland. Some lyrics just describe how I changed so much my junior year and how everything was so hard. I had a part-time job that was a grown-up job at Metrobank. It took up all my time and really made me grow up because I had a lot of bills to pay. My favorite stanza is, Little Miss, do your best, little miss, never rest. Little miss, you'll go far, little miss, hide your scars. I do not normally set goals for myself, but I figure I should because otherwise I'll never strive for anything. My 5 goals would be to make the Kutztown softball team, keep my grades up in college, keep working as much as I can, get an internship for the career I want, and just have a good life. Some of these are short-term goals, and some of them are long-term goals. Obstacles are things a person sees when he takes his eyes off his goal. It's a famous quote by Eli Joseph Crossman. I really respect this quote because it speaks my mind perfectly. No obstacle can hold you back if you have motivation. Keep your eye on the prize. All these goals will be achieved because I never lose my focus. Finally, it's my senior year. All I can say is that it's been a really, really bumpy ride. This year has been the worst and best year so far. I've learned a lot about myself, and I'm more proud to be who I am now. I've been bullied and harassed this year. It was so bad I almost switched schools. My mom made me go stand up for myself when I really didn't want to, and yet it helped me a lot. It made that situation better and made me realize that no one should be bullied into silence, that you should never let yourself become a victim, that you have to accept no one's definition of you and define yourself. She's really influenced me for that. I lost my 2 best friends also to something that was absolutely nothing. Even though they were lost, it's okay because I wouldn't have it any other way. They weren't the right kind of best friends for me. I had to find those people who make me the happiest and only waste my time on them. I then took a few months to myself and just focused on me. I worked harder and really came to realize who I am. I'm a hardworking, determined, honest, trustworthy, and bright girl. I love who I am and I would not change myself for anything. And through all those bad times this year, the times I thought would never end, a silver lining came through. I found a man rather, who I would say actually found me. That made me believe that I can be perfect to someone. He thinks I'm beautiful, but fell in love with what is beautiful about me on the inside. My personality. He makes me want to spend every day with him, having the time of my life and never wanting it to end. I could go on and on about him because there's nothing about him that doesn't do something for me. All I know is that when it all comes down to it, that I would not want to be anyone else but me. That everyone has the right to a beautiful life, and who says you can't have it. I think if someone wants to be happy, then they have to be the one to make that happen. I know that when life is good to me, I'll thank it and celebrate, and when life is cruel, I'll say thank you and grow. This is my life, and I'm going to make it a good one, because who says I can't?